Okay, so full moon in Leo, we have the strength card, which is the card that is connected to Leo energy. That is going to be one of our anchors for today. And the strength card is one of those cards, and if you've hung out with me for a while, you probably heard me talk about this, but it's one of those cards that I kind of struggled with when I first was learning tarot because it seems so simple. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, strength. Like you have to like be strong through something. But really, there's more depth to it, as always, with tarot and with yoga and astrology and all the things. There's a lot of layers to it. And this card is really about discernment of how to use our energy. And the thing about a full moon in general is this polarity between where the sun is and where the moon is because they're in opposite signs, right? Because like the sun shines on the moon and that's why it looks like it's full. And then when it's a new moon, they're aligned with each other. So that's why we don't see it. And the polarity of a full moon in Leo means that the sun is in Aquarius, which is the opposite sign of Leo. And it's this polarity between the self, Leo, and the community, Aquarius. And discerning how to use that energy. Something else that's really interesting. Um, in some decks, the Justice card is number 8, this is the number 8th card. And in some decks, it's 11, which is in my deck, it's 11, and many traditional decks is 11. But the Strength card and the Justice card in some decks can almost be a little bit interchangeable. And the way that I read the Justice card is in the same way, this discernment, but really it's like, how do we show up for ourselves? And how does that help us show up for our community? And how we show up in our community? How does it show up for ourselves? And like how these things are very, very integrated. So we're going to be thinking about that today during practice. And there's a lot of things happening in the world. Where I live in Nashville, we had a really big ice storm. A lot of people, it's been over a week. A lot of people still don't have power. Obviously, speaking of ice, all the terrible things that are happening in Minneapolis and also all around the country. It just feels like a lot. It feels like a lot. And so we're going to kind of feel our feelings about it. That's what full moons are about. And discerning how we want to use our energy to move forward so we can be supportive for the community and we can take care of ourselves. So we will begin lying down. You will want 2 blocks today. And just have those be kind of towards the top of your mat. We're going to lay on our backs, knees pulled in towards the chest. Maybe massage the knees a little bit. And just before we do any kind of movement, as you gently hold on to your knees and feel your low back press into the floor, just start to feel the fluctuation of your breath. And notice what comes up. Nothing could come up, and that's okay too. My daughter was home from school for a full week because of this ice storm. And one day we were playing spa where we like did our nails and stuff like that. And then she said, I'm going to give you a massage. And I was like, great. And so, because sometimes I'll like kind of give her a Thai massage and like pull on her feet and things like that. And so she started doing that, like kind of stretching my feet. And then she goes, okay, now you squeeze your knees in towards each other, just like the posture we're in right now. And she goes, and you're going to squeeze all your feelings out. And I was like, oh no. And she's like, squeeze them out, squeeze them out, squeeze them out. And she's like, you want to feel no feelings left. And I said, well, that's not true. We want to let ourselves feel the feelings that we feel. There'll always be something. But it was just funny because that's the way she interprets what I teach, which is, I don't know, probably my problem. Okay. As you inhale, you're going to extend your legs up and your arms out. Exhale, let's do a shh. As you bend your knees, hey, pull your knees back into your chest. Inhale, extend your legs up and your arms out. Exhale, let's do a shh. Bend your knees, pull your knees in toward your chest. We're going to do that 3 more times. Inhale, legs up, arms out. Maybe even flex your feet. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to your knees. Shh. 2 more like this. One more. And then cross out your ankles. We're going to rock and roll up to a seated position. I always like to do a couple rocks, but if you just want to do one, that's totally fine. And then we're going to do some just like big turns. So really find some rotations, opening up through the sides and the low back. Don't forget to breathe here as we move. And move a little bit slower through the areas where you feel a little bit more sensation. And then return back up to a neutral spine. Switch so your other leg is in front. And then same thing. And just something to be curious about. Was there one leg placement where you feel a little bit more? Is it the same? Or is it different? And then returning back up to neutral spine, we're going to come into a tabletop position. So take your hands down and just kind of roll over your knees, uncross your ankles. And then we're going to do just some, before we do our little cow dog, we're going to do some big body circles. So send your hips over to the right and then to the left. And just find some movements here. Hands and knees are attached to the floor, but everything else can be fluid and movement. Spend a little more time in the areas that need a little bit more of your attention. And then returning back to a neutral spine. As you inhale, lift your heart and your tailbone. Exhale, send your hips towards your heels, stretch your arms forward, child's pose. Inhale, return to cow pose. Pull your hands in again, lift your heart and your tailbone. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up high, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow, lower your knees at the same moment, and then lift your heart and your tail. Exhale, hips to heels, arms stretch forward, child's pose. All right, we're going to add something. As you inhale, you're going to come up to stand on your knees, reach your arms up. Exhale, you're going to pull your right elbow by your side, reach over to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, left elbow pulls in, reach over to the left. Inhale, back to center. And then you're going to bend both elbows, and we're going to do a lion's breath. So you're going to breathe out of your mouth with your tongue out like this. Great. Inhale, reach both arms up. Keep your arms by your ears. Exhale, go back into child's pose. Inhale, cow. We're going to do that whole thing 2 more times. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, come up to stand on your knees, Ardha Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, pull your right elbow towards your side, reach over to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, pull your left elbow over to your left, reach over to the left. Inhale back to center, both arms up. Exhale, bend both elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, reach both arms up. Keep your arms by your ears. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do that whole thing one more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, child's. Inhale, come up to stand on your knees. Reach your arms up, lift up through your heart. Exhale, right elbow pulls in, reach over to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, left elbow pulls in, reach over to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, both elbows in, lion's breath. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then take a couple breaths here in down dog. Maybe pedaling your feet out, bending one knee, bending the other, relaxing your head and your neck. And then you're going to walk your feet up towards your hands at the top of your mat. Have a little bit of space between your feet. Slightly bend your knees, relax your upper body over your lower body. And then shift your weight towards your heels, slowly round in your spine to come all the way up to stand. Inhale, reach your arms up. Great. Exhale, free your arms by your side. So just take one or two breaths here. And let's actually place our fingertips onto our sternum, onto our heart. Leo energy rules over our heart. And with some of this practice, we're creating a little bit more space in our heart. You might be feeling, because of the state of the world, or even things happening in your personal life, sadness, rage, frustration. Poet Andrea Gibson said, "Everything you feel, name it love." And initially that might sound like spiritual bypassing, but I really believe it's true. All of our anger, frustration, rage is because we love so much. So we're just going to create more space in our heart to hold all the things. Inhale, reach your arms up. Again, exhale, right elbow pulls in towards your side. Reach over to the right, stretching to the left side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, left elbow pulls in towards your left. Reach over to the left. Inhale, back to center. Bend both elbows. Breathe out of your mouth, lion's breath. Great. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, we're going to fold in, hands to your low back. We're going to do that whole thing 2 more times. Inhale, return to stand, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, upward hand posture. Exhale, reach over to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, reach over to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, both elbows bend, lion's breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, folding in, hands to your low back. We're going to do that whole thing one more time. Inhale, return to center, reach your arms up. Exhale, right elbow pulls in, reach over to the right. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, left elbow pulls in, reach over to the left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend both elbows, lion's breath. Great. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, folding in. And then you can release your hands to the floor. I'm going to change my front of the mat so you can see my face better. So I'll face the sun. And then you're going to inhale, make sure your blocks are handy. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold in. And step your right foot back. Lower your right knee to the ground. Inhale, reach your arms up, crescent pose. As you exhale, you're going to pull your left elbow towards your side, reach over to the left. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, we're going to step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to the ground, lift your heart in your tailbone, cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. For 2. And for 1. Inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Lower your left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, pull your right elbow in, reach over to the right. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, take your hands down, step forward, and fold forward. So as you inhale, we're going to bend your knees, reach your arms up, Utkatasana. As you exhale, bend your elbows, straighten your legs, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release your hands, step your left foot back. Lower your left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up, crescent pose. Exhale, pull your right elbow in, reach over to the right. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to the ground. Lift your heart in your tailbone, cow pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. For 2. And for 1. On your next inhale, reach your left leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, step your left foot forward, lower the right knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, pull your left elbow in, reach over to the left. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down, step forward and fold forward. As you inhale, bend your knees, reach your arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, bend your elbows, straighten your legs, lion's breath. We're going to do one more time on each side. Inhale, chair, bend your knees, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release your hands, step your right foot back, lower your right knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up, crescent pose. Exhale, left elbow pulls in. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow, lower your knees, lift your heart and your tailbone. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. For 2. And for 1. Inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Lower the left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, pull your right elbow in, reach over to the right. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down, step forward and fold forward. Inhale, chair. Bend your knees, reach your arms. Exhale, lion's breath, bend your elbows, straighten your legs. Inhale, chair, last side. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release your hands, step your left foot back, lower the left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up, crescent pose. Exhale, pull your right elbow in, reach over to the right. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow, lower your knees, lift your heart and your tail. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. For 2. And for 1. Inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, step your left foot forward, lower the right knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, left elbow pulls in, reach over to the left. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down, step forward and fold forward. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, straighten your legs, bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, free your arms by your side. Again, checking back in with your body and your energy and your breath and your heart and your mind. Aquarius very much rules over our minds. Okay, I know I said have your blocks be handy last time, but now really have your blocks be handy. We're actually going to use them in this sequence. So have your blocks be handy at the front of your mat. Inhale back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, fold in. I'm going to grab my blocks so they're kind of framing my foot, and I'm going to step my left foot back, pivot the left heel to the ground. So first, we're just going to make sure my hips are squared off here. Right hip goes back a little bit, left hip goes forward, and then inhale, reach the arms up, Utkatasana, or no, what is this? Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. As you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your leg. Exhale, take your hands to your heart, fold in. Inhale, Warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your leg. Exhale, fold in, hands to your heart. We're going to do that 3 more times. Inhale, Warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your leg. Exhale, hands to your heart, fold in. 2 more like this. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your leg. Exhale, hands to your heart, fold in. Last one like this. Inhale, Warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your leg. Exhale, folding in. Hands to your heart. And then take your hands onto your blocks. So this might be where it gets a little bit funky. You're going to take your blocks to the right of your legs. And then you're going to come onto the pinky toe side of both legs. So we're kind of in this weird, I had someone call this the scary splits one time. This weird, like, kind of cross-legged, situation here. And this is really going to get into the outer right hip and the IT band. And we're going to stay here for 4 more breaths. For 3. For 2. And then we're going to go back up to the front of the mat. So take your blocks with you. But then leave the blocks there. You're going to continue to rotate, this time to the left, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Forward fold. Prasrita Padottanasana. And then reach your arms through your legs. And have a couple breaths here. So you can stay put, or you can do a little skandasana action. So maybe walk your hands over towards your left foot, bend your left knee, point the right toes up. And then maybe walk your hands over towards the right foot, bend your right knee, point the left toes up, and then just move back and forth a few times on your breath. Moving gently and with intention, opening up through the hips. And then next time you walk your hands towards your right foot, we're again going to square hips towards the front of the mat, lower the left knee to the ground. Take your blocks to the tallest setting. And then first, we're going to spend a couple breaths here. Fingertips are just kind of resting on the blocks, opening up through the front of that left hip. For 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. So release the blocks to the lowest setting. We're going to tuck our left toes under, take our left knee off, and then step your left foot up to your right and fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back in. Bend your knees, reach your arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Bend your elbows, straighten your legs, lion's breath. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, free your arms by your side. So that was kind of a lot. So just take a moment. Feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. And then we're going to do the other side. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release your hands, step your right foot back this time, pivot your right heel to the ground. So again, squaring the hips off, which might mean you need a wider stance, taking your feet wider from each other. Inhale, bend your left knee, reach the arms up, warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lift your heart, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your legs. Exhale, hands to your heart, fold in. Inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lift your heart. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your legs. Exhale, straight, fold, hands to your heart, fold in. We're going to do that 3 more times. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Exhale, bend your elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your leg. Exhale, hands to your heart, fold in. 2 more like this. Inhale. Exhale, lions. Inhale, straighten limbs. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, bend your elbows. Lion's breath. Inhale, straighten limbs. Exhale, hands to your heart and fold. And then grab your blocks. I'm placing mine on the medium setting, but they can be short or tall, depending on you and your body today. And you're going to take both blocks to the outside of the left foot. Bloop. And then I'm going to keep rotating towards the left. So I'm on the pinky toe side of both feet. And we're in this weird little like cross-legged situation. And hang out here for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Now take your blocks back to the front of the mat. You're going to leave them there, but you're going to keep rotating, this time to the right, wide-legged forward fold, Prasrita Padottanasana. 5 deep breaths. Now you can stay here, or you can do, again, the Skandasana. Bend one knee, point the other toes up. Bend the other knee, point the other toes up. And just move back and forth a few times on your own. And then next time you walk towards your left foot, you're going to rotate your hips towards the front of the mat. Lower the right knee down. Take your blocks onto your tallest setting. Rest your fingertips onto the blocks. Lift up through the heart for 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And then lower the blocks down. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your right knee up. Step forward and fold forward. We're going to finish this out. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, folding in. Bend your knees. Inhale, reach your arms up, Utkatasana. Exhale, lion's breath. Bend your elbows. Inhale, straighten your arms up. Exhale, relax your arms by your side. Check in with your heartbeat. Check in with your breath. Check in with your feelings. So we're going to find our way to the floor. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding in. Let's take our hands to the blocks for now. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow. And then exhale, child's, but place your forearms onto the blocks. So it's this kind of like gravity supported heart opener. Let your forehead rest on the floor. Notice what you notice. And then come up to sit on your knees, grab your blocks. We're going to come into supported fish pose. So if you're, I mean, I hope you have blocks because we've been using them a lot today, but if you don't happen to have blocks, you can always use like a rolled up blanket, like a long way rolled up blanket. Place this underneath your spine. But if you're using a block, one block will go vertically. So up and down, this will go between your shoulder blades on your spine. The other block will go horizontally, and this is where your head is going to go. Now, if you know that your shoulders are pretty tight in the back of your heart, you may want a blanket or something to put underneath your hips. So I'll demonstrate, even though this one's kind of big, but I'll demonstrate with this bolster. You may or may not need it, but sometimes it's just helpful to have a little extra. Who doesn't like a little extra support, you know? It's a good practice. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is lay on one block, kind of lift my arms up so my scapulas kind of poke out, and then the other block's gonna go underneath my head. Now, if I was here and my butt's like, there's no way I'm touching the floor, no problem. We take a bolster and we put it underneath here. And you know what? Your butt might find the floor and you might be like, that looks kind of nice. Try it. Put like a folded up blanket, pillow, bolster, whatever you have it be supporting you here. Actually, I'm going to hang out here. Honestly, this feels good. So once we get here, we're going to have a couple options. Option number one is to chill, is just to let your arms, it's not even just, this alone is a big posture, but to allow your arms to hang by your side, breathe and all that. A different option is to let your arms move. I would say like snow angels, like if you've ever made a snow angel before. Arms out and up. Don't forget to breathe. A different option is to interlace your hands above the crown of your head. So not your face, but just like the tip top of your head. And let your elbows be heavy. Now, if you have a really tight shoulders and upper back, you might notice something we call referred pain, where it kind of shoots, like you feel this kind of shadow of a sensation, like maybe in your jaw or in your head or in a different part of your neck. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you probably don't have it. But if you're like, yeah, there's like this weird like shadow of a sensation, on my temple or something. Or could be jaw, could be back of head, could be top of head, could be forehead. And what that's telling us is that you have probably some habit that is kind of creating some tension in the back of your heart. And this could be like a very literal thing, like, we all are on our phones all the time. So maybe your posture kind of is hunching forward and like, that's fine, but it's just information. Maybe it's the way that you're sleeping, sometimes sleeping on a shoulder. That's what it is. I'm feeling this on my right side. I know that this is what it is for me. It's my sleeping position. Could be the way that you hold, if you have a purse or a bag that you hold, you might hold it on the same shoulder, and that could create tension. It's just looking at our habits. And honestly, that's one of the great tools that yoga can teach us, is to look at our habits. And talking about this relationship to self and others, sometimes we don't realize that our habits are causing tension in places, both for ourselves, right, in our own bodies, but also in our relationships. And it's not until there's pressure on that part of our body or on that part of the relationship that we realize how our habits show up in that way. And there's nothing like a full moon to put pressure on things. So maybe you've noticed over the last 24 hours or maybe the last week, couple weeks, ways that your habits have maybe unconsciously created tension. And so now that you know, what are ways that you can change those habits? All right, so if you're holding on above the top of your head, gently first release down. If you're holding anything except for arms by your side. Go ahead and release your arms by your side. And take 4 or 5 more breaths here. And then we're going to lift ourselves up out of this position. And so place your hands on the floor by your hips, lift your head up, and then lift the body up. And then grab your blocks. I'm going to come on off of my bolster for now. I will return to it very soon. And we're going to do a little counter pose. So take your 2 blocks. You can kind of play blocks, blocks with your blocks, where you can stack them in any way. So that when you rest your forehead on them, you feel supported enough they're not straining, but low enough that you're feeling now the release in the back of your heart. And I had a teacher many years ago when I was learning to read chakras with a pendulum, which when we gather, and actually we were supposed to gather, what was it, last weekend? What is time? And then there was the ice storm and I lost power. So we didn't do that. But next time we gather virtually, I'm going to teach you know, all about pendulums and chakras and all that good stuff. But my teacher that taught me that it was actually right when I was out of massage school. One of my first jobs at a treatment center, we were taught, and I was already a Reiki practitioner, but she taught me how to integrate those things. Anyway, she would say, because we would sometimes check front and back of the body chakras. And, you know, the postures that we hold, like this posture, if you're always in this position, this kind of rounded shoulders, um, you know, back of the heart pulling in one direction, that might mean protecting one's heart, right? Because there's like this, you know, rounding in the front from something in the past. But maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? Our body language do tell us a lot of things. And then slowly lift your body up. And then we're going to lay down in our final rest. So I would suggest either placing a blanket or a bolster underneath your knees or lengthwise and laying on your back. So it's kind of like a less intense version of what you just did. You still get the heart opener, but it's not so crazy. Or you can place it underneath your knees and have your back be flat on the ground. And then just release. And then start to expand your breath, inviting prana back into your body and back into this space. And find some little movements in your fingers and your feet and in your face. Maybe reach your arms above your head in a big morning stretch. And if you like to roll to the side, or just find the simplest path up into a comfortable seat. So you can either keep your hands rested in your lap or maybe take your left hand onto your heart and your right hand onto your left, or any other hand posture that feels good for you. And see if you can notice your pulse or your heartbeat. It's okay if you can't. We're going to seal off this practice by chanting the word peace 3 times in Sanskrit. So we're going to do a big Om together and then chant the word Shanti. If you know it, I'd love for you to join. Otherwise, you can listen and you'll still get all the benefits. So deep breath in for Om. Om. Deep breath in for Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace to you, peace to your loved ones, peace to all beings everywhere without exception. Thank you for your time, your presence, and your practice. And that's the universe.